So an HSA is a health savings account. So what does that mean and how can we use them to invest? I'm actually going to talk about HSAs as well as FSAs. This is flexible spending arrangements. They're similar in a lot of ways, but they're quite different. So HSAs, you can contribute in 2024 up to $4,150 as an individual or $8,300 as a family. For an FSA, you can contribute up to $3,200. Now, if you have a couple and each couple has an FSA, they can each contribute that $3,200 for a total of $6,400. But you need two different plans, two different people. Carryover. So the benefit of the HSA is if you don't use it, you keep it and it travels with you even if you change employer. Whereas if you have an FSA, you can only carry over about $640 at the moment. And if you don't use it, you lose it. So you can carry over for 1 year. HSAs, you make tax-free contributions as well as you can take the money at any time as a distribution as long as it's used for qualified medical expenses. And if you're below the age of 65, unless you're disabled, you cannot use the money to pay for the premiums of the medical insurance. If you use it for anything other than a qualified medical distribution, you're going to pay a 20% tax penalty, plus you're going to pay your income tax on that money. That's basically if it's used for non-medical purchases. Up until age 65. When you hit age 65 and beyond, the penalty is waived, and effectively you would just pay your income tax. So an HSA at age 65 effectively becomes a traditional, individual retirement account or 401k or something like that. It's basically the same thing. You will pay taxes on it, but at least you waive the penalty and you can use it for whatever you want after age 65. For the FSA, again, you also take tax-free contributions and distributions as long as it's made on medical purchases. You can do it's like you can get glasses, you can go dental exams, eye exams, things like that. You can use it for your co-pays, your medications, hospital visits, things like that. So I use an FSA. I do not use an HSA. Why? The big one for me is healthcare plan requirements. I like the FSA because I don't have any requirements. I have low deductibles. I have basically only a 10% co-insurance. A lot of things are 100% covered. And if I go to an HSA, it must be a high deductible health plan, HDHP. For an individual, that means it's a minimum of $1,600. And for the family, it's a minimum of $3,200. So if you're young and effectively you don't really get sick or injured, you don't do anything risky, you don't have children, maybe an HSA is fine for you with a high deductible plan. But for me, there has not been a single year that either myself, my wife, my daughter, or somebody has had some major incident where we've either gone to an emergency room or my wife gave birth or, whatever it might be. Tonsil surgeries, appendix bursts, all kinds of things happen in life. I don't want that surprise. Here, let's just take an example of an ER visit we had. So it was a $20,000 bill. It was a $200 copay. The insurance negotiated it down to about $6,000. If this was an HSA with a high deductible, I'd pay my $200 copay, my $1,600 deductible. I'd pay probably 20% co-insurance is very common with these high deductible plans, so that's another $880. And the bill that would come to me would be $2,680, and that would be the total out of pocket. Now, if it's 10% co-insurance, even with that high deductible plan, it's still $2,240. If I look over here, if I have an FSA and effectively I have a low deductible because it allows for that, I have a $200 copay, a $300 deductible, probably $570 of the remaining as 10% co-insurance, and my total bill is $1,070. I'd rather have this bill for $1,070 rather than this bill for $2,680. I don't want a medical emergency, to become a financial emergency. I want to have something planned for this. I don't want to have to deal with that. And if you think about that, if you have multiple different doctor visits and things like that throughout the year, which if you have young kids or you're older or you have things that happen that common, I wouldn't go with an HSA with a high deductible plan because this is going to eat away for this. Even if I contributed almost $3,000 in the account, guess what? It's gone. So with this, maybe I only put $4,000 away. I have one, slip up a year, effectively. That's a sizable chunk that gets taken away. There's not much left for it to grow and accrue over time. But if you still want an HSA, effectively what you could do is you can go to a brokerage. Fidelity looks like it's one of the better ones. It has low to zero fees, $0 minimum. You can invest in stocks, mutual funds, high savings accounts, things like that. There's other companies like Vanguard or Charles Schwab or other places that do a good job as well. But it seems like Fidelity is pretty highly rated, so I'd probably open an account with that, or at least do a little bit more due diligence and try to figure out if there's anything that works well for me. A lot of these plans, you need a $500 or like $1,000 or a couple $1,000 like minimum to open the account. So at least with this, you need a $0 minimum to open it. So if you are self-employed, or even if you're employed somewhere else, you don't have a lot of money to put into it, Fidelity looks like they're willing to work with you. So this is something that people requested me to talk about. If you have any other requests, leave them in the comments below. I'll be happy to go through them in a video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. I cover a lot of financial education topics such as how to invest, how to save, how to make more money. One of the goals of the channel is basically I'm trying to lift other people out of poverty and living paycheck to paycheck, because I grew up in poverty. It sucked. I want people to do better, not only for themselves, but also for their family and their community. When we all have more, we can also give more to others. Thank you for watching and have a great day.